What is up, people? Shoquafina here, coming at you with our Week 3 battle in Season 1 of the GPL. I'm your coach of the Lake Huron Lanturns, and we are taking on One Pun Man and the Durban Dragonites. If you're excited for this battle, please leave a like down below and subscribe for more content from the GPL and my new battle league I'm going to be associated with, the NBA, the National Battle Association. We'll be having videos uploaded from the NBA this weekend, as well as Week 4 from the GPL this weekend, because this is last week's battle video. It's a re-upload because there's something funky going on with the video. I had to take it down. The video stalled out on me like half a second into the game, so it just kind of stopped here at team preview. And the audio was a little weird because the music was higher than it usually is. I don't know what happened, man, but I'm gonna double check this thing, make sure it's okay before I post it this time. I was just kind of in a hurry last time, so I didn't really get a chance to look at it. But if you look at his team preview here, and if you watch my team builder, and if you haven't, link is down below, you can see I predicted this team pretty much perfectly. I was a little excited to see the Espeon instead of the Chandelure, because I think Chandelure put in a bit of work against my team, and I can handle the Espeon pretty well. It doesn't want to switch in on Chestnut. It doesn't want to switch in on Hitmonlee because I can knock it off and do a tremendous amount of damage. It doesn't want to switch in on the Scolipede because of Mega Horn. It doesn't want to switch in on the Umbreon because I just have type advantage. And Mega Altaria handles it pretty well as well, unless it has Dazzling Gleam. So I think I can handle the Espeon pretty well. He's probably just there for cleric purposes, which is what I was assuming from team preview. So that's absolutely fine. But right here, I'm expecting him to probably lead with the Electros because I don't have a ground type, and you might just want to go for a slow Volt switch and get some momentum that way. In seeing that, I actually lead with my Mega Altaria here, because there's absolutely nothing that Electros could do to Mega Altaria. It doesn't get any Steel type moves, and the only really Poison type moves it gets are like 40 base power, and they don't really do much. So I'm not worried about it. I can hit it with a big Return and do... or a big Hyper Voice, excuse me, and do like 30% to it if it's Assault Vest. So I do more damage to the Electros than not. But he actually leaves Politoed here, and I don't want to stay on in this thing just because it gets Ice Beam, obviously. So I switch out into my H2 Olga as he goes for the Toxic, which is a very good play on my opponent's part, predicting the switch there. And he doubles out here to his Electros, and expecting that, I actually go out in my Altaria. So I make a very nice prediction there, because I know this thing has nothing it wants to touch me with. I eat up a Volt Switch because I resist it. I eat up a Flamethrower because I resist it. Again, the only thing it can really do to me that's super effective is like Acid Spray, I think, and it only does like 10. So I'm not really worried about it. This is a good matchup for me. I get my Mega Evolution off. I can hit something with a big Hyper Voice here. And I do get my Mega Evolution off. He does stay in. I hit the Hyper Voice. It does 30%, so that shows me this is Assault Vest. And there is the Acid Spray. Actually does 20, not 10. And he gets the half of my special defense. So I need to switch out there because I don't want to take another half. Here's the Acid Spray here on the Ringo to my special wall. I'm not worried about it. He's actually going to switch out. Or I actually hit him with a Toxic here as he goes for a Drain Punch because it is super effective. Does 30%, gets him a bit of health. I'm betting I didn't do as much as he thought it was going to, because he just straight up switches out here into his Ferrothorn. As I go for the Moonlight, get all my health back, predicting the switch, and I go for the Taunt here. Taunt came in clutch against this Ferrothorn. It happened like 2 times this match. I didn't want this thing setting up Stealth Rocks. I didn't want this thing going for T-Waves or going for Leech Seeds. I wanted to completely shut this Ferrothorn down, and this is a good way for me to scout his moveset as well, because I want to see if this thing has a Power Whip. If it does not have Power Whip, then Vaporeon actually destroys this thing with HP Fire out of the rain. So this is good for me. I get to scout it a little bit. As we see, he did go for the Leech Seed, wasn't able to do that. So I just hard switch here into Crabapple, expecting the Gyro Ball, which comes through. I'm immune thanks to Bulletproof. And he's actually going to switch here because he knows he can't do anything to me, and he goes out to Espeon. Espeon takes his Wood Hammer, and it did not like it. It does 2/3 to its health, which is really good for me, because that means he's not going to be switching in Espeon on Crabapple anymore, fearing the Wood Hammer. And Espeon's really the only thing that can handle Crabapple outside of the rain, because if we're in the rain, Mega Swampert actually does 50% or more, 50% minimum to Crabapple with an Ice Punch. But then again, I do Oko with Woodhammer. So it really depends on my health here with Crabapple. I want to keep this thing as healthy as possible to deal with his entire team, because it does deal with his entire team. Mamoswine can't switch in, but if it is in on me, it can Icicle Crash and obviously really hurt me. So this thing puts in a lot of work. I want to keep it healthy. I don't want to keep it in here on the Espeon for obvious reasons. So I just go ahead and switch out into my Ringo here. As he just goes for the Protect, try to get some health back with the leftovers. He probably should win for the Wish there, but he does switch out into the Politoed, get the Rain up again, as I just go for the Toxic. I want to wear this Politoed down for obvious reasons. I don't want a Swampert to come in with the Rain and just demolish my team. So he goes for the Scald here, probably fishing for burns. I just go for the Taunt, either expecting the Pharaoh again, or maybe this thing wants to try and Encore me into Toxic. I don't want any of that. So he just goes for the Scald again. He gets the burn this time, which is fine. My Synchronize doesn't work because he's already Toxic. I'd rather this thing be Toxic than burn anyway. So I just go for the Foul Play, just get some damage off on this thing and maybe hit something that wants to switch in. But he actually goes out and switches out here. He doesn't want that thing to take any more Toxic damage. I go for the Moonlight just to get some health back. I know I'm not going to be able to get it all back since the Rain is up, but I want to keep this thing as healthy as possible as well. So I switch out here because the way he brought this in made me assume it was Dazzling Gleam. And I didn't want to deal with the Dazzling Gleaming Espeon because obviously it has type advantage over my Umbreon. And Foul Play is not really going to do a whole lot to this thing anyway because it doesn't have that great of an attack. So I just switch out to my H2 I can eat up a Dazzling Gleam if I need to. He just goes for the Wish here, so good predict on my opponent's part. Toxic damage, leftovers, all that fun stuff. He goes for the Heal Bell to get rid of all the status on his Politoed and everything else, as I go for my own Heal Bell to heal myself the Toxic and my Umbreon of the Burn. So there's his Wish there. I just go for the Scald to do about half in the Rain, which is fantastic. That shows him that I do have some special attack investment though, as he's just going to switch out into his Ferrothorn. And I go for the Scald here, praying for the Burn, and we do get it, which is fantastic for me. He gets the Wish recovery back though. So this is actually where I want to be. I know I outspeed, and HP Fire does, I think, 55 to 68% to Ferrothorn outside of the Rain with this build that I have of Vaporeon. And again, guys, go check out the team builder if you want to see the specifics on my EV spread and all that. So I really don't think he's going to predict me to stay in here. So even if he had Power Whip, I didn't think it really mattered. So I just go for HP Fire here, put a big hurting on this Ferrothorn. I'm going to predict him to go for Leech Seed here. There's the HP Fire. You can see it does 63%, which is a tremendous amount of damage. He actually goes for the T-Wave, which kind of makes this a prediction game because now he outspeeds me since I'm paralyzed. But I did the calc. I can eat up a Power Whip because I have physical defense investment. So I figure getting rid of this thing is good enough reason for me to take a bunch of damage because I can just Wish up later if I need to. I also have the Heal Bell to get rid of my Para. So I decide to stay in and I just go for the Scald. Because Scald kills from this range anyway, and I can also get the potential burn on anything that switches in. As we see the Electros come in, I go for the Scald here. Does about 20%, but there's no burn, unfortunately. He goes for the Thunderbolt, he gets a crit. I just wanted to get a Wish off. That crit actually really sucks. I don't know if it mattered as well as 2-hit KO is concerned, but he goes for Thunderbolt here on my Crabapple as I just get all my Wish recovery back. So we're back at full health, which is exactly where I want to be. And I just go for the Wood Hammer and get rid of this Electros. Really, he does his only play. He didn't really want to sack anything else. So he goes in the Mamoswine here, and I'm expecting this thing to be Focus Sash. I really am. As he goes for the Icicle Crash and does a good amount to Ringo. I didn't want to switch out into my defensive wall, my Vaporeon, because I am so low. I didn't want to sack it off there to the Mamoswine. In case he predicted me switching out into it, he could have went for the EQ, and I didn't want to have to deal with a dead Vaporeon. Since it handles his Politoed, it handles his Swampert when it's at full, and I know it handles his Ferrothorn at this point as well. It just deals too much of his team for me to sack it off that early. So I just take the big hit here with my Ringo. I know I can just Moonlight up next turn because the Rain is not up, and potentially break his Sash as well with a Toxic. So he switches out here into the Politoed, or into the Ferrothorn, excuse me. And I do go for the Moonlight, just get all my health back. I'd guess that maybe he was sacking his Ferrothorn here, and then decided against it here, because he does switch out into the Politoed here. And he gets the Rain back up. So I just go for the Taunt. So this thing comes in for free, really. I wanted to go for the Toxic on it, which you can see right here. But he does get the burn on this first Scald, so I sink the burn onto him as I go for the Toxic. I would rather this thing been poisoned, obviously, than burned, because it does more after a gradual amount of time. But as long as this thing is status and getting worn down, I really don't care either way. So he just switches out into the Espeon here as I go for Moonlight, just to get back to full before burn. And I have the type advantage, but, you know, I was really expecting this thing to have Dazzling Gleam. But the way he came in and the way I'm seeing its full Cleric, I don't think it has Dazzling Gleam anymore. I think it has Psychic Stab as its only attacking move with Wish, Heal Bell, and Protect. Because I've seen all three of the other moves, except for an attacking move, and I don't think Dazzling Gleam will be the only attacking move this thing has. So I decided to just go for the Foul Play and get the damage off there as he goes for the Wish. As you see, it does like nothing, pretty much, because he has no attack investment. But he just goes out to the Ferrothorn here, and I actually switch out into my H2 Olga. And he gets the Wish off there into the Ferrothorn, which is absolutely fine. I know I can eat anything this wants to do to me. I'm convinced this does not have a Grass-type move. I just go for the Wish here as well as he goes for the Leech Seed. I just want to get this thing as healthy as possible. You see the burn is really helping me there on the Ferrothorn. And he actually switches out because he doesn't want to take another HP Fire. He switches out into the Politoed. And I just go for the Heal Bell there to get rid of my Para and the burn on my Umbreon. And my Wish brings me up to a viable state of health. So I switch out, get rid of Leech Seed. I go into the Ringo. He goes for Perish Song. I didn't really know why he did this at first, but it kind of makes sense now that I think about it. I don't think Politoed had the coverage to take care of Vaporeon, so he brought Perish Song just to force Vaporeon to switch out. But since I doubled into Ringo to take a Scald, or to take any type of special move anyway, it didn't really matter. He's just going to get worn down here by burn damage. And he's actually just switch out here into his Ferrothorn, which is a bit healthier than I would like it to be. Foul Play does about 20%, but I take Iron Barb's damage. After leftovers and the burn, this thing is looking in the range that I wish it were in. I just go for the Taunt here just to stop it from doing anything. He just goes for Gyro Ball, predicting the Taunt, which is fine by me. I perish next turn, so I need to switch out here anyway. I just go out into my Chestnut because Gyro Ball it does nothing to me, and he actually doubles out in his Mamoswine. So this is a very good play by my opponent. I have to switch out here, and I go into H2 Olga to eat up the Icicle Crash. This 25%. It's really doing nothing. He switches out the Mamoswine into the Espeon. I just go for the Scald here, get some big damage off in this thing, and there's leftovers recovery there. He's still in range of Scald, and he decides to protect. Get some leftovers recovery, hopefully move outside the range of Scald, just get some health back. But as we see, it did 32% last time, he has 31% now, he's still in range, so he has to switch. And he switches into the Politoed, puts the Rain up, and because he put the Rain up, Scald's actually able to kill here after burn. So down goes the Politoed. That's absolutely huge for me. I didn't want that thing around the whole game, giving Swampert more chances to come in and Swift Swim all over my face. So that's perfect for me while I still have 6 Mons and I'm still able to wear out Rain turns, which is what I do here when he sends in the Swampert. There's the Swift Swim ability there, obviously. I know I can eat an Earthquake, so I eat the Earthquake, and I just go for the Wish here. I don't have Protect on Vaporeon, so I just hard switch out into my Crabapple. And I eat the Earthquake there as well. Brings me down to half, but the Wish brings me back up to full. Here I predict the Ice Punch. I don't want to take half from this thing. I don't have anything that really wants to switch in on all of its moves, so I just switch in Vaporeon again to take the Ice Punch. Just to wear down Rain turns and switching around. Here goes for the EQ here. I could have switched back into Chestnut, but I decided just to sack Vaporeon because I didn't want him to predict my Chestnut switch and then 2-hit KO me with Ice Punch, because Chestnut, as of this point right now, is my win condition. It handles the rest of his team very, very, very well. Especially if I can get that Espeon worn down a bit more. So I sack Vaporeon here. I was really sad to see it go, but I feel like I can win this game without it at this point. It did its job. I got rid of the Politoed. The Electros is gone. I think I'm feeling pretty okay with it. So I just send in Scolipede here to protect and get rid of the Rain turns. So he goes for the Waterfall here, which is protected, so it's fine. There's only 2 turns of Rain left after this. And I just go for the SD because I have the Focus Sash. And his Waterfall brings me down to the Focus Sash. And on the following turn, I'm just going to protect and get rid of the rain. So with the rain being gone, this was kind of like a 50-50 here. Okay, I have Baton Pass on the Scolipede because the GPL allows Baton Pass. We don't have a Baton Pass clause, basically. So I have Baton Pass, and right here I was really thinking about Baton Passing in my Chestnut because it just handles the rest of his team. But I really thought that Mamoswine was Focus Sash, and I know Ice Punch from Mega Swampert does 50% minimum. If that's the case, then Baton Passing into Chestnut is not my best play. Ice Punch plus Iron Barbs damage from the Ferrothorn plus Icicle Crash or even Ice Shard from Mamoswine I think is enough to take down my Chestnut. So I don't want to sack it here, especially since it handles the rest of his team very well and I can cause some switches with it. So I decided to just go for the Mega Horn here because it has a chance to KO the Swampert from full after an SD, as he actually decides to switch out into the Ferrothorn. Had I known he was going to switch out into the Ferrothorn, I 100% would have Baton Passed into Chestnut because I wouldn't have to worry about the Ice Punch from the Mega Swampert because I would outspeed since there is no rain. But yeah, you know, what are you going to do? He predicted it very well. I don't know if he knew that's what the thought process I had was. I knew I took forever doing this because I was calculating how much Ice Punch and Ice Shard and Icicle Crash and all that stuff did. But I feel like this was my best play overall. I mean, some people might see it as a misplay because I didn't go for Baton Pass, but I was just thinking that through, and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I want Chestnut around to the end of the game, and if he Ice Punches me here, lets his Mega Swampert go down, and then goes out into Mamoswine, it's not really worth it because he still has the Mamoswine there, you know. So I just decided to go for the Mega Horn here. This does take care of the Ferrothorn. The PD does go down. As you can see, a lot of people here are crazy, like, what? Why didn't you Baton Pass? Well, I just explained why. So I go for the Fake Out here, just break this thing's Focus Sash, because I am absolutely convinced this thing's Focus Sash, guys. Then I go for Close Combat. That takes out the Mamoswine. And honestly, I wasn't worried about Chestnut sweeping, because I knew I also hit Unburdened Hitmonlee in the back, and I also had my Mega Altaria. So at that point, I'm like, I think I have the game anyway. So I'm not too worried about Baton Passing into Chestnut. Would it be cool to pick up a sweep with Chestnut? Hell yeah, but it wasn't necessary. So I just go for the Close Combat here. That takes out the Mamoswine. As he goes out into his Swampert, Close Combat's a 2-hit KO on the Swampert from full. He goes for the Rain Dance here, try to outspeed me next turn. It doesn't matter, I'm unburdened, so this thing goes down to another Close Combat. And his last Pokemon is the Espeon. It is pretty damaged, and a knockoff takes this thing right out. So that's the game, guys. We are now 1-2 in the GPL. Pumped Up Kicks picking up that late game sweep there. And his first appearance also, so good for Pumped Up Kicks. Hitmonlee proving his worth there. Again, we move to 1-2. And next week we actually take on Zeph and the Roam Braviary and their Mega Scizor. So I'm actually very afraid of Mega Scizor because it obviously has a type advantage against my Mega Altaria. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. That should be up this weekend, as well as my team builder for that and the NBA match and team builder. This actually set me back a little bit, so they might be a day late than I would like them to be, just because I had to redo this video after the first one crapped out. So, but nevertheless, if you guys like what you saw this week, I know I did, please leave a like down below and subscribe so you can be notified when more team builders and more battle videos come out. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Shoquafina. I'm the coach of your Lake Huron Lanturns. We are 1-2 on the season, and I'm out.